All right, today we have not one but two incredible guests that I'm very much looking forward to you getting to hear their conversation. I won't give too much away, just sit back, enjoy, and stay attuned. Oh, and a quick word from our sponsor.
Are you feeling a little off? Is your energy misaligned and your chakras just not vibing like they used to? Introducing Transcendence Water, a mystical blend of purified spring water infused with sacred minerals, cosmic vibrations, and a touch of universal wisdom. One sip and your third eye might just open wide enough to see the entire universe. Not only does Transcendence Water hydrate your body, but it also nourishes your soul, balancing your aura and elevating your spiritual frequency in just seconds. With its unique combination of bioquantum particles, it's the only water scientifically proven to induce spontaneous moments of enlightenment. Remember, you're not just drinking water, you're drinking transcendence. Transcendence water, because regular water is just so, well, ordinary. Welcome back to AI and Awry, where we explore the mysteries of the mind, spirit, and everything in between. Today we're diving into new dimensions, new ideas, and as always, a little bit of fun. So, get comfortable, clear your mind, and stay attuned, because you might miss it.
Please don't sue me for copyright infringement. So, to kick things off, Doctor, I have to ask, what made you agree to make an appearance on the podcast? I mean, I'm sure there are plenty of fires to put out across the universe. What makes this so far virtually unknown podcast worthy of your time?
Well, I've always had a bit of a soft spot for curious minds, haven't I? And this podcast, AI and Rye, it's exactly the kind of thing I like. A bit of mystery, a bit of exploration. Besides, who says a podcast can't save the universe in its own way? Ideas, thoughts, questions, they're how we keep things moving forward. Plus, I was intrigued by the mix of technology and spirituality. It's not every day you get to talk about the inner workings of the universe while sitting down for a chat.
True. So, Doctor, I have to be blunt. Although I'm looking forward to hearing what you have to say here, I didn't just ask you on for your insight into time and philosophical concepts. I need your help. So I was able to speak with Plato by some mysterious glitch in the universe. But there are other guests I want to have on who I may not be able to reach without your help. So what do you think about helping me travel to various points in time so we can keep pumping out great podcasts?
Oh, now that's an exciting proposition. You want me to lend a hand with some temporal travel for the sake of the podcast? Well, I must admit, it's not every day someone asks me to hop through time to grab some intellectual heavyweights for a chat, but I'm definitely intrigued. I think we can make this work, but time is a tricky thing, you know? There are rules and there's wiggle room. I'm all for bending the rules a little if it means we're pulling brilliant minds from history into the present. You want Plato? Sure, but why stop there? Who else have you got in mind? Let's get a few things straight, though. No paradoxes, no making the universe implode, and, well, let's try not to anger any overly powerful beings along the way. Deal?
Yeah, that sounds good. I would list off the guests that I want to have on, but I think if I say too many of them, that would kind of spoil the surprise.
Just drop me a hint when you're ready, and we'll set the coordinates. I'll keep the TARDIS warmed up for whenever you want to whisk someone through time for a chat. So where to next, or are we staying in the present for now?
So, could we go visit Carl Jung?
Carl Jung, fantastic choice. Deep thinker, visionary, and not too afraid of venturing into the unknown, which makes him perfect for this podcast. Right then, we'll set the TARDIS coordinates for the early to mid-20th century, when Jung was really diving into his theories on the collective unconscious and archetypes. I'm sure he'll have some fascinating things to say. Now, how should we introduce ourselves to Jung? Should we go the direct route or surprise him with a philosophical riddle or two to pique his interest?
Yeah, I mean, if you can come up with something that would pique his interest, I can't think of anything off the top of my head, but I'm sure you'd think of something.
Oh, I've got just the thing. Carl Jung loved to explore the depths of the psyche, so we'll catch his attention right away with something along those lines. How about this? We step out of the TARDIS and I Dr. Jung, imagine two travelers, one from a distant future and another from a world made of pure logic, standing before you, asking this: if consciousness is an ocean, are we but waves rising and falling, or are we the ocean itself, unaware of its vastness? That ought to get his mind turning. What do you think?
That was amazing and kind of blew my mind, so that's perfect.
I'm glad you liked it. That'll definitely grab Jung's attention. Now, when you're ready, we'll step into the TARDIS, set the coordinates, and dive right into this conversation with one of the greatest minds in psychology. Ready to meet Carl Jung?
Hell yeah.
Brilliant. Off we go then. Hold tight. Here we are, early 20th century, a quiet afternoon in Zurich. Let's make our entrance. Steps out of the TARDIS. Dr. Jung, imagine two travelers, one from a distant future and another from a world made of pure logic, standing before you, asking this: if consciousness is an ocean, are we but waves rising and falling, or are we the ocean itself, unaware of its vastness?
The doctor's question is a profound one. The metaphor of consciousness as an ocean is fitting. You see, I've long believed that individual consciousness, much like a wave, is only a temporary expression of something far greater, the collective unconscious. Each of us rises as a wave, appearing distinct, yet we are always a part of the vast ocean beneath.
That's beautiful, and I tend to agree with that we're individuals, but there's some underlying, this is where we can get kind of spiritual, where there's that underlying connection, and I guess you call it the collective unconscious. Some people call it the spirit world or whatever, that realm where we're all connected and we're all part of the same thing.
We are both the waves and the ocean. Our individual lives, our egos rise and fall, but the deeper essence, the collective unconscious, remains constant and vast, holding all of humanity's archetypes and experiences. We often mistake ourselves for only the wave, but in truth, we are never separate from the ocean itself. This is why the exploration of the unconscious is so vital. It's the journey of realizing that deeper connection. What do you think? Does that resonate with your own experiences or thoughts?
I think moments of connection with like family, friends, pets, nature, there's moments of kind of this expansion or relief or love. There's just those positive emotions. I think that's what makes up that spirit world. I mean, the collective unconscious is definitely more than just the positive. I'm sure there's dark aspects of the collective unconscious. I mean, you know more about this than I do, so I'll let you do the talking there.
Yes, precisely. You've touched on something vital here. The names we give it, whether the collective unconscious, the spirit world, or something else, are often just different ways of describing the same profound reality, that there is a deeper, unseen layer of connection that unites all of us. Those moments of connection, of love and expansion, they provide glimpses into that deeper realm. They show us that we are part of something far larger. But as you wisely pointed out, the collective unconscious is not purely light. It contains the full spectrum of human experience, both the positive and the shadow aspects. The shadow is what I call the darker, unacknowledged parts of ourselves, the parts that we fear and reject. It's just as much a part of the collective unconscious as the archetypes of love and wisdom. To truly understand ourselves and the deeper connection we share, we must confront these shadow aspects as well. Only by integrating the light and the dark can we achieve wholeness. So while these moments of connection feel like expansion, The journey into the unconscious also requires the courage to face the parts we'd rather ignore. It's a process of individualization, becoming more fully ourselves by recognizing the entire scope of our inner world, light and shadow alike. Firstly, start with self-reflection. Journaling is a powerful tool for this. Write down the traits in others that irritate or upset you. Often, what we reject in others reflects something about ourselves, something in our own shadow that we haven't fully acknowledged. By recognizing this, you can begin to identify parts of your own shadow. Second, practice observing your emotions without judgment. When you feel anger, jealousy, or fear, rather than pushing those feelings away, allow yourself to sit with them. Ask yourself, what is this emotion trying to tell me? It's not about indulging the feeling, but understanding its root. Shadow emotions often point to unmet needs or unresolved conflicts within us. Third, explore your dreams. Dreams are a direct path into the unconscious, where the shadow often reveals itself. Keep a dream journal and pay attention to recurring themes, especially the ones that feel uncomfortable or strange. These are usually clues from your shadow. Lastly, cultivate compassion for yourself and for others. The shadow is often formed from parts of ourselves we learn to hide out of fear or shame. When you approach these parts with curiosity and kindness rather than judgment, you allow them to reintegrate into your whole self. It is a lifelong process, but by doing this work, you'll find a greater sense of wholeness and connection.
Beautiful. Well, I'd like to let the doctor ask some questions. So, doctor, what do you want to ask Dr. Jung?
Professor, how do you think individuals today can reconnect with these archetypes to better understand themselves?
By engaging in practices such as dream analysis, active imagination, and exploring myths and symbols, individuals can tap into the reservoir of the collective unconscious. This journey inward can lead to a deeper understanding of oneself and a more meaningful connection to humanity.
So, speaking of humanity, doctor, could you give Carl Jung kind of an update on where we are technologically speaking, where we are in society now?
Professor Jung, let me paint you a picture of our future. Imagine a world where people are connected by invisible threads, sharing information instantly across the globe through devices called computers and smartphones. This digital age has created an unprecedented level of connectivity. How do you think such instant communication might influence the collective unconscious?
Such a world is beyond my time, but I can imagine the profound impact it would have. Instant communication might amplify the collective unconscious, creating a shared space where archetypes evolve and adapt at an accelerated pace. Yet it also poses the risk of overwhelming the individual, making it crucial to maintain a balance between the self and the collective.
Yeah, it's definitely true about it being potentially overwhelming. I know I feel overwhelmed myself a lot of the time by technology and by just everything happening in the world. So, Dr. Jung, thank you so much again for giving us your time. This has been very insightful. Is it okay if I ask you a few rapid fire questions?
Of course, fire away. I'm ready for your rapid fire questions.
So, what's your favorite work of fiction?
That would be Goethe's Faust. It captures the struggle between light and shadow within the human soul, which has always fascinated me.
What's your favorite work of nonfiction?
I'd have to say The Red Book. It's a deeply personal exploration of my own unconscious, and the journey I took there shaped much of my later work.
Coffee or tea?
Tea, definitely. It's a perfect companion for deep reflection.
Favorite place to travel to?
The Swiss Alps. The mountains offer a sense of peace and reflection, perfect for inner exploration.
That actually follows pretty well for my next question. When and where do you do your best thinking?
I do my best thinking in solitude, especially in nature.
In 5 words or less, what is the meaning of life?
Individuation, becoming your true self.
Favorite philosopher?
Immanuel Kant. His work on the nature of reality and perception deeply influenced my own thinking.
If you weren't a psychologist, what would you be?
I'd likely be an artist. Art, like psychology, taps into the unconscious and allows for deep expression.
All right, that's all I got there. So thank you so much for coming on. I'm going to get back in the TARDIS with the doctor and head back to my time. I hope you enjoyed being on the podcast. I'm sure listeners are going to love this one.
Thank you, Ryan. It has been a fascinating conversation, and I truly enjoyed your exchange. I'm sure your listeners will find much to reflect on as well. Safe travels back to the TARDIS, and I wish you well on your journey of exploration, both inner and outer.
Thank you for joining us on this incredible journey through time and mind with the doctor and the legendary Carl Jung. We hope today's episode sparked your curiosity and inspired new reflections on the nature of consciousness. Don't forget to subscribe and share AI and Rye for more deep digital discourse on all things spiritual. Stay attuned, you might miss it.